My name's Charles Morgan. I'm chairman of the Morgan Motor Company and very proud to be working for a family business. My grandfather Harry, he was the son of a vicar, and very early on, I think my great-grandfather realised that he'd never become a vicar, so sent him off to the Great Railway Works in Swindon. But Harry's real interest wasn't steam engines. He got really interested in lightweight structures. And so when he became a garagiste, or owned a small garage in Malvern, he thought he could design a better car than the ones that were coming in to be repaired in his garage. So he built the first prototype Morgan three-wheeler. It's great to have that heritage. And a lot of the Morgan story is about heritage. It's about things that last. It's about objects of value that are still of use, that are still relevant, and you still keep using them. The way Morgan operates is actually it innovates. And I think at the moment what we're doing is showing people that it's possible to produce cars that are much, much lighter than the conventional steel monocoque cars. And for that reason, I think we're changing faster than the existing motor industry. I think it's an absolute favourite myth about Morgan that wood plays a major structural role. To be honest, that's never been the case. You won't be allowed to sell a car if it doesn't have the current braking system, the current engine system, the current technology. So BMW powertrain, ZF gearboxes, Siemens airbag. So whatever it looks like, it's got to be modern underneath. And to an extent, that's what Morgans are. They look old, but they're modern underneath. Morgan Motor Company produces three types of vehicle. It produces the three-wheeler, produces the classic, which is everybody's idea of the quintessential English sports car, and it produces the Aero, which is a more modern, more practical version, if you like, of Morgan, but still with that sort of real fun-to-drive aspect. I think the Aero is an interesting car, really, because to an extent there is nobody else building anything like it. It's got aluminium bodywork and a very retro feel. So basically, what you're driving comes across perhaps as something which is a classic car. But of course, when you put your foot down, everybody's very aware that this is an extremely modern car. I suppose our owners would look at a Porsche, they'd look at an Aston Martin, or they'd look at a Jaguar. And I think the difference with the Aero is that it probably does almost everything that those other cars do, but it's much more individual. The three-wheeler is quite an interesting story because we celebrated our centenary and we produced a little three-wheeler pedal car for children. And that was one way I could have of saying, right, we've done another three-wheeler, and I thought that would be it. But in fact, at the same time, we actually found that somebody was producing a sort of replica three-wheeler in America with a Harley engine, and it had genuine potential. And what has happened subsequently is in the next 2 years, we've completely redesigned that vehicle. Once you get behind the wheel, it's quite ridiculously addictive. And as a result, I mean, all the motoring journalists have given it 5 stars and said it's one of the greatest things they've driven all year. It has brought Morgan a completely new following. So I took one to America to do this sort of car rally for supercars. And it was quite funny, actually, because by about the 4th day, and especially because we were one of 20 cars of the original 150 that went into Death Valley, all the drivers of Lamborghinis and Ferraris were going, I quite fancy those, actually. They're not bad, are they? The Morgan 4.4 is the most affordable car in the Morgan range. It uses a Ford power plant and Ford gearbox, and arguably that gives it an extremely good combination of economy and performance. When that's combined with a little chassis and an aluminium body, it means that it is one of the most economical cars on the road. And it is, I think, without a doubt, the most economical sports car you can buy. The 4.4 perhaps is our most popular model for somebody who's reached retirement, want to give themselves a present and actually buy the car. What I think makes Morgan special is that they are lovingly put together by a very skilled workforce at the end. And that means that to a certain extent the customer can feel and actually see, if he comes to the factory, hand stitching, can actually see the finishing of his car is done by somebody who he can talk to and trust. And I think the days when you thought perhaps that quality meant that you had to buy a mass-produced product are a bit over. And what people want is something more than that sort of quality. They want that sort of reliability, they want that sort of durability, but they also want something which has got a bit of a human touch. And so the way we finish our cars, I think, gives them something rather special, which you don't get when you just get a car delivered from a car dealer. I suppose people are buying into something different rather than just following the norm of people who will all buy an Audi or a BMW. That's really the goal of the company, is to make driving not just a leisure activity, but something that's actually enjoyable to do. And to be honest, that's pretty rare these days. There are fast cars, there are very comfortable cars, there are cars that you can almost imagine you're at home in. But not so many of them do you smile as soon as you get behind the wheel, especially if you've gone 20 miles down the road. What I would encourage people to do is put it on their shopping list and try one, and they might like it a lot more than the alternative.